Hey, Southy here. Just want to make a video about how small Aussie Supercar is, how small a fan base is. I've made comment on this before about the television coverage, how few people see it. The average viewership's only about 120,000 per race on TV, and I've made the challenge before, and I've said, if you send a dozen supercar drivers down to your local Woolies selling raffle tickets for the Lions Club or the Apex Club, that nobody would know who they were. If they just dressed in their civvies, no one would know. You might get your supercar fan walk into Woolies and know, but most people, 95% of people, wouldn't know who they were. I'll tell you what just happened. I had a crazy supercar fan, or Shane Van Gisbergen fan, make threats to me and do all this crazy stuff online, and I was forced to go to the police because he sent a threat to a third party lady to forward on to me. And so I had no choice, but I had to go and report it to the police. And I was told the police situation. Now, there was a police lady and two police men and a secretary there. And I told them that I'd made a post about Shane Van Gisbergen, that a video talking about him, how hard it's going to be for him to win on an oval, and this guy went nuts and started attacking me, and I had to block him, and then he went nuts, made a page and all this nonsense. Anyway, one of the police officers said to me, "So who's the person you made the post about?" And I said, Shane Van Gisbergen. And they said, is he a friend of this guy? And I said, no, he's a race car driver, Australian race car driver. They said, can you spell his name for us? And I said, yeah. And I actually got it up on my phone to show them. And none of these four people had any idea who he was. This is the guy who won the championship in supercars and won all these races and went to America and now is racing in NASCAR and doing really well on the road courses. Four people, none of them knew who I was talking about. They had never heard the name before. So that's a everyday scenario that just demonstrates how small the Aussie Supercar Series really is. They've got their core supporters, and as I've described them before, your average jobbo in his man shed, wearing his wife beater, drinking VB under a picture of Peter Brock on the wall. And they live in a bubble where they think that's really big deal, and these people are really famous, and supercars are a really big deal. Now, to them, it can be. That's great. Enjoy. People enjoy all sorts of things and look up to all sorts of people who aren't well known to the rest of us. There's people who follow sports we've never heard of, let alone motorsport. But I just thought that was a really good everyday example of how small it is and how under the radar the supercar category is in Australia. Unless you're in that bubble, unless you're in the team or a driver or a crew member or one of their fans, if you're not in that bubble, you've got no idea who these people are. Cheers.